Hi, Maximo Mary here again. Today I'm joined with Ralph Rio, and you might remember him from our series last year. Ralph, introduce us.
Hi, I'm Ralph Rio with ARC Advisory Group. My domain area that I research is enterprise asset management systems, including, of course, Maximo.
So, Ralph, last year we focused just about enterprise asset management. So this year we've got a lot more content on facilities management. So you can tell us a little bit about the trends you're seeing?
Yeah, facilities management is an area that's plays well with the C-suite in this regard. The business was very dynamic during the economic problem that we had recently, and cash management became very important to the C-suite. Well, on the P&L statement is leases, which represent a significant amount of the cash flow. So this started to get the scrutiny of the C-suite, and facilities managers needed a way to respond. The information about leases were in a bunch of disparate locations and in manual systems, handwritten. So facility management applications was a way to bring all that information into one location so that it could be better managed and they had better visibility. And we see a great need for that as a result of this need to have better financial planning. That's one thing. That's based on the past. Another thing coming up is a FASB rule change. Today, leases show up on the P&L statement as an expense item, as they should. Well, they also represent very long-term commitments, just like a long-term loan does. And the new FASB rules, SEC, is going to require that stuff to now be represented on the balance sheet in addition to the P&L statement. Well, to comply to those new rules, they need an audit trail and be able to report on this information accurately. To do that, they need applications like TRIRIGA. So that's also further going to drive the demand for TRIRIGA. And now remember, Sarbanes-Oxley, the C-suite needs to sign something that the financial reports, that balance sheet and P&L statement is accurate. And if it isn't, they could go to jail. It's always a good career move to keep the C-suite, your boss, out of jail.
Yep. So plus, I mean, facilities, you just don't realize how much they mount up to on the whole expense list.
I've talked to a couple of TRIRIGA users. One of them has, they both happen to be in insurance, but one of them has over 1,000 leases and another 600 of their own facilities. So imagine representing that on the P&L statement and balance sheet with pieces of paper in each different location, defining the lease terms, etc. To bring that all together, you need to have something centralized as a reporting and visibility tool.
Right. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about plants and the emerging capabilities that you're seeing to help operation performance improvements and peak performance.
Yeah, the emerging trends in that area is around a new area that's generating. It's called asset performance management, or APM. This is an emerging thought process and strategy. It is, well, in the past, we've had, and to a large extent today, maintenance operates as one silo, and separately, production operates as another silo, and they get along okay, but they really don't talk and they're not integrating. So this area is an area where they start to collaborate, share information, so you can improve the return on assets, equipment uptime, and stuff like that. So in the production management area, we're talking about applications like ERP, MES, the control systems, Historian, those kinds of applications. Talking with applications in the maintenance side of the world like EAM, condition monitoring, reliability, and environmental health and safety. So by sharing information in between the two systems, you can achieve higher uptime, better equipment and reliability, and stuff like that. I mean, just give an example. We have a condition monitoring systems, and typically people talk about vibration monitoring. It's a whole system to monitor vibration. So when the thing starts shaking and rattling and rolling, you know to repair it.
Right. It's too far along by then.
Yeah. So that's stable. What I'm talking about, another type of condition monitoring where you start taking information out of the control system and using that to know when to do a maintenance, when to engage maintenance. So take the use case I like to talk about is a simple heat exchanger, where you got stuff coming in and it comes out at a higher temperature. So those things have tubes, and the tubes get dirty, and eventually there's a blockage, and then you have a downtime situation. So preventative maintenance is inspecting to see whether or not the tubes get cleaned.
Right.
Well, rather than doing that, you can take it and make it predictive. You put a pressure gauge on the inlet, pressure gauge on the output, compare the two pressures, delta P. If it starts going up, you need to clean the tube.
Yeah.
All right? So now you do maintenance when it's needed.
Right.
So it's that kind of information that could come out of the control system historian. We see very high growth going on for this APM segment, improve uptime, asset longevity, and control maintenance costs. All those things are key metrics for the maintenance manager.
Yeah. So a lot of data, a lot of analytics.
Smarter plan.
Right. We've talked about this before. If you haven't heard it all through the week, intelligence. So tell us a little bit about where you see intelligence playing into enterprise asset management and creating the biggest impacts for plants and cities.
Yeah, we see some emerging technologies going on that are significantly impacting that. And let me first talk about what does intelligence mean. It's a good term, but I want to delve into it a little bit around enterprise asset management. And it's taking sensor data and using that information for improved visibility into what's going on, but also to automate the work processes and workflows so that we can achieve our goals better and things are better coordinated. So it's that adding intelligence into the work in terms of workflows and automated business processes. We see a couple of emerging technologies around that. In the area of mobility, for example, people have seen smart devices that they use as consumers. In this case, consumer IT is leading business IT. And people are using smartphones, getting familiar with it and stuff like that. And they're now demanding that in their business applications. So today, the ugly truth, unfortunately, is that the most common mobile device is paper. But we see very rapid acceptance of mobility for the technician to process work orders into Maximo and other enterprise asset management type of applications.
Yeah, because they said this morning 80% of people across the globe are going to have smart devices and mobile technology. So are there other technology trends that you're seeing in enterprise asset management? Yes.
Well, I talked a little bit about mobility, and that is in the context of processing work orders. And a key point of that is it has to be able to support the disconnected state in at least 50% of the applications. And by disconnected state, I mean when that maintenance technician is in the cellar, in a mine, or in a subway, or they're behind in a refinery behind a lot of metal, and they're out of range of the network, they're not attached to the Wi-Fi, they still need to be able to process their work orders. Because when they can process the work orders, it becomes part of the business process of doing their work, and you might have much higher compliance. When you hire compliance, people have more confidence in the data that's in the EAM system, in Maximo, and they're much more likely to trust it and use it. So I just talked about mobility within a plant. The other area of high growth is now taking that out in the field service. Historically, my sense was that field service management was an underserved market. And I'm talking about here, people maintaining assets that are in other people's, the customer's location.
Right.
Rather than within your physical plant. And there's great demand now for EAM being applied to field service management, those technicians out in the field, I think one enabler is mobility, and another enabler is cloud. People are starting to be much more comfortable with cloud. And in this case, I'm taking a very general term, use of that term, where we're talking about an instance in one location and people in a whole bunch of other locations very easily access it. So this idea that people located out in the field using a central hosted location, that concept, the willingness to do that, to trust it, combined with mobility, we're seeing in excess of double-digit growth in mobility and EAM applied to field service over the past 2 or 3 years. Very high growth area.
Great. So have you enjoyed your time at Pulse this year? I know last year you had snow, this year you got high winds.
Yeah, it was a little windy yesterday. I particularly enjoy the user presentations. You've got, I don't know how many hundreds of users presenting their case stories. And every time I always come across one that has some really unique use of Maximo or EAM or something like that, or
that you didn't
combining
think of.
Applications that you would have never thought on your own. And there was one that I saw yesterday. It was a passenger transportation train where people were taking, there's IT inside the ticket vending machine.
Right.
You know, PCs and applications and stuff like that. And they were scheduling work orders for the IT in the content, not just the mechanical or electronical.
Really?
They were scheduling the work orders to upgrade the IT, and they were using Maximo Asset Configuration
ACM.
ACM.
That's in our
that
acronyms.
aspect.
Management.
Very interesting.
Yes.
They combine the maintenance of the electronics and mechanicals with the IT.
Great, great. Well, I want to thank you again this year, and I want to thank you guys for watching us. And please remember, follow me, Maximo Mary. Thanks.